Welcome back to Dark Souls 2 with me, Oni Black Mage. Alright, so the first thing I did is I'm currently in the Iron Keep. I went ahead, twisted this bulkhead, turned off the fire in this furnace room, and what I'm doing now is going down into said furnace room. All this probably would have incinerated me alive. Actually, it's more of a smelting room if I'm not mistaken. So this is more of an ironworks Iron Keep. See, it's like I get the feeling that I'm trashing a lot of workplaces here. I was in the mines earlier, then I was in their windmill, and now I'm in their ironworks facility. You know, this kingdom is clearly a very financially strong area, and I get the feeling I'm probably crushing most of it. You know, now I crushed their wheat production, I'm destroying their local armory, I'm destroying their mines, and they need that poison to fuel all their poison mines, and probably natural gas is probably all that was, and it was just poisonous for me. And look at me, destroying that. How would you like it if some random guy came out from you, some random zombie, comes out and starts destroying your metalworking, you know, your power source, power plants, and all that? Man, I'm probably the villain here. Pretty devious stuff when you think about it. What a shocking twist that was. You are actually the evil person behind all of this. All this ruination, it's all you. You're doing it right now. All these people are just trying to defend their kingdom against you, but you're just a one-man army. You just keep coming back. For some reason, the power campfires keep bringing you back. The dark soul was you the entire time. And actually, when you think about it, that would actually totally make a plausible plot. Because there really aren't... the whole motivating factor behind this journey is very self-motivated. And if you really want to go into a deeper layer, most villains' stories are all self-motivated. You see, the villain's story, the motivation behind it... that guy is his one-hander. Is always, he's on a personal quest, and you know, he's going to get it done, even by himself if necessary. And why people say, well, that'll make you a hero? Not necessarily, because a hero needs to overcome said challenge or some obstacle. And granted, this entire journey is an obstacle, but just the journey as an obstacle is true for both heroes and villains alike. What makes a hero is one who opposes a villain. Somebody just goes on a quest, you know, and accomplishes something that may or may not be heroic, it may or may not be villainous. It's just usually who it benefits. So the fact that we're on a quest just to benefit ourselves, because we're not out to save anybody, we're not to save any kingdom. We just stepped in here because we have a curse and we want to get it off our back, literally. It's kind of on our back. And I think this kind of makes us a villain, doesn't it? Very selfish journey. Speaking of selfish journey, let me go ahead and go behind this fog door and see what's behind it. Seems like a mini boss room if I ever said one. So I'm going to put on Flash Sweat, because this is a fireplace, probably a fire guy. Yup, Smelter Demon. Well, he's not on fire. Oh, never mind. That quickly corrected it. Alright, I wanted to see if poison worked on him, like the salamanders. People said try using poison on the fire guys. And it's ticking off a little bit, if you see there. It's ticking off a fair bit, actually. Yeah, it looks like it's probably getting off 10% of his total health. Alright, so he's not particularly invulnerable against magic, which is not bad. Actually, yeah, it looks like it keeps on ticking, so it takes anywhere from about 15, maybe 20% of his health. And about 15% of his health is what poisoning does, so that's pretty useful, actually. I should probably reapply it, but it seems he just takes normal damage from soul arrows, so no particular weakness. He is vulnerable to poison. Alright, so he has very large broadcasted attacks. That thrusting attack is probably very, very deadly. It reminds me of Lost Sinner all over again. Ouch, I still keep taking damage from that. Ow, took that directly. That 3-hit combo. Okay. It's a good thing I was drinking a healing right when he was doing that. This is getting close. This is getting down to the wire. Whoa. That was luck. Okay. This is getting close. This is getting close. Ouch. Ah. Yeah. What throws me off from his combos is the fact that he has a delay to it. So I'm going to keep trying to keep forward and do a death montage and see how many times it takes for us to beat this guy. Alright, I'm back in front of the Smelter Demon, and I do advise putting Flash Sweat on as well as a fire resistance ring that will help against his flame swathing. This guy does require very precise application of dodging. You're going to want to go in with your strongest attacks. Obviously, I don't recommend a fire attack. He is a guy made out of fire, and fire doesn't seem to do anything especially good against him. Soul Vortex is okay only if you hit him pretty precisely. Keep in mind, when he's charging up his fire like that, he takes a little bit less. Yeah, see, the thing with Soul Vortex is sometimes if it hits all of them, it deals severe damage and stuns them. It's like Soul Spear Barrage, but a lot better. So far, it's still the best damaging attack that I have. Otherwise, you're going to want to go with your best soul attacks. You know, Soul Mass, Heavy Soul Arrow, Soul Spear, whatever you've got on you. In the previous areas, Pyromancy was all it was about, but in this one, you're going to have to go in. In this one, because you're fortunately not outside any hazard, the edges of the arena are not hazards, what you're going to want to do is keep your distance. This guy does not have any major gap closers other than that thrusting attack right there. And if you mastered it against the Lost Sinner, you're doing the same thing here. You're waiting for him to thrust, and then you need to dodge back. Yep, dodge. See? Ooh, too close for comfort. You need to basically match the delay, and there we go. Match the delay in order to match your dodging, and you're going to be able to take care of him without even much of a worry. Barely got hit in that entire fight. I think I'm going to do a warm-up. He certainly warmed me up. Another chivalrous guy down. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty villainous at this point. Like I was explaining before, our motivation for going along here is entirely selfish. Our means are entirely our own, and when nobody else is supporting you on this except for you, and maybe a couple of shadowy figures that you don't know very much about, doesn't that scream shady to you? You may be thinking, oh, I'm not doing anything overtly evil. Well, there are many people typecast as villains that, from their perspective, they aren't doing anything overtly evil. They're just pursuing their own means, their own purpose, their own self-fulfilling mission. And by that means, everybody else, however, typecasts that as selfish, as evil, you know, as anti-society. Well, you're just trying to basically help yourself. And for all you know, you're helping somebody else, but nobody else cares about that. They're just calling you a villain. Alright. A bonfire, perfect. Okay, I have a lot of souls right now. I'm going to go back to Majula and catch these in really quickly. So I'm going to pause here and pick it up coming back. Okay, and I'm back. Leveled up quite a few times actually. Cashed in a few souls. Topped myself off and upgraded a little bit of my gear. Be careful of revenge. Oh, hello. Oh, you're no longer a boss. You're down to encounter. So, this is a rematch, huh? Ouch. Oh, come on. You saw where it basically teleported me. Yeah. That's usually a one-hit kill. I'll tell you what, Pursuer Knight. I got a beat on you. And we're going to get revenge right now, and I'm going to give you the beatdown that I should have given you. We're not chumps anymore. We're the villain of this story. We need to get our curse, and nobody's going to stop us from moving our curse. We're going to ruin your windmills, we're going to ruin your mining facilities, we're going to ruin your ironworks, we're going to ruin your fallen kingdom. That's already in a rough spot that all you knights are looking to defend. We're going to destroy your entire order of knights. This is a villain story, I'm telling you. There's no heroes here. Alright, this guy looks like he has the exact same tactics. 1, 2, and then 3, and then counterattack. Alright, well that Soul Vortex did barely anything. Yep, he does a sliding dash. Yep, he does the exact time. And 1, 2, 3, and counterattack. Yep, I've got this waltz down. I can see that damage-wise, I'm doing good damage against him, and he actually is weak against the magic. What's also true is he has a boatload of hit points, and he hits really hard. So that's perfectly fine. Same exact tactics. Looks like this Pursuer Knight is the exact same guy we fought before. Nice, I stunned him just in the right time. Actually, I didn't know you could do that. I've been dodging you for so long, I have your entire pattern down. Got you. Done. Goodbye. I'm gonna actually take a bow for that. Yeah. That's catharsis right there. So yeah, talking more about villains and heroes. When you think about it, it's an incredibly thin line that separates those, don't you think? The problem with many RPGs is because it's such a story and character intensive journey most of the time, is that hero and villains are almost confused, and usually we take for granted who's the hero and who's the villain. There are many stories in which people say that one person is a villain, but by course of the entire journey, isn't it arguable what you're doing is way more villainous and what you've accomplished is incredibly more destructive than anything the quote-unquote villain did? Especially with how some people play. Breaking into people's houses, smashing up their stuff, stealing things, killing indiscriminately without any thought, taking everybody and believing whatever they say off the top of their head, pursuing only their own selfish intentions, serving nobody in the kingdom but themselves. That doesn't sound villainous to you? Doesn't sound chivalrous to me. Saving one person but murdering legions of people, you know, it's amazing. And there are many RPGs that actually address this, saying, you know what, you're an awful gray area. You're not exactly a very heroic person. You claim you are, but you're the only one claiming this. And we take for granted who's the villain of the story. Most people don't want to think about it, but if you think about it, it's kind of funny, actually. Especially with popular opinion. That's always funny, popular opinion. Usually, popular opinion doesn't put much thought behind said opinion. So it's usually popular, thoughtless opinion. I notice that when I'm reviewing a lot of stories and plot lines for Recapitation, a lot of stories in which people say, oh, this person's the villain, and you actually look at events in a story and actually look at what's being done and letting actions speak louder than words, because anybody can say this, that, or the other, but what's actually being done and what people choose to do, the choices they make, it certainly is interesting to see who really is villainous and who isn't. I'm going to try to subtly drop a few of those. I might make a top 10 list of most misunderstood villains later. There's some pretty misunderstood villains. I'm not talking about the tragic, I'm sad, feel sorry for me villain. I'm talking about the guy who's doing stuff and he's pretty cool and he's pretty strong and he's a well-received villain, but what he's actually doing is just misunderstood. By you, most likely. That's usually what some stories try to play up as the whole twist later. Saying, oh, you thought he was the villain, you were the true villain. You know, like going back to cult favorite, Shadow of the Colossus. I mean, you think you're doing something heroic, this deed for saving your dead girlfriend or whatever. You think you're doing that. You think you're helping destroy these giant monsters lying around. You think that's what's going on. But that was just you. You're actually letting this unholy god out who is separated for a reason. That's exactly what society wanted. In fact, you don't find out till too late. You were breaking all the rules. You were breaking all the taboos. You were doing everything wrong and unlawful. A lot of people tried to stop you. You ignored everybody. And you did exactly everything that would bring you ruination, and they were right. By the way, spoilers. And, yeah. I think you're kind of doing the same thing here. It would not surprise me if towards the end of this tale you... Oh, he ran into the fire and died. Awesome. It would not surprise me if by the end of this you're just some big villain yourself. Would not surprise me at all. Still, enjoying the ride. Discussing morality. That's always funny when people throw morality systems in there. That just basically complicates things even more, because then they try to hard set define what is moral and what isn't, which is always funny to me. It's like giving water to this person dying of thirst is a good act. I'm like, what if that person dying of thirst was somebody who should have died, and you should have killed him instead of giving him a glass of water? You know? You ever think about deeper things like that? You ever try to add context? All that matters. I'm pretty sure you're the villain in this story. The more I play, the more I'm convinced of that. Usually usually who determines who's the villain and who's the hero is the people in the world that are most influenced. That puts context. And you have to take that into context, because unless everybody is basically mind-controlled or something like that, or zombie slaves, then if everybody of their own free will determines by their own perspective and values that XYZ person is a hero and XYZ person is a villain, then regardless of how you feel, that perspective is kind of what defines you. I mean, it's all just labels when you think about it. Because you may say, well, it doesn't matter what society says, da-da-da. It's like, well, that's kind of what a villain would say per society. And then I think you realize at that point, you're right, it doesn't matter. It is just labels. It is just perspective. It is just philosophy. It's all kind of the same thing. Beware of treasure in lava. Alright. Oh, I stepped on a trap floor. Darn. I think I can jump over this. I should be able to, yeah. I accidentally stepped on a floor panel. Darn. What? I was nowhere near that lava flow. I cleared that. Oh, come on. That's villainous, too. One thing I notice as we take this philosophy of villainy into account is think about the writing of many other quote-unquote popular villain. What makes a good villain? Especially when you realize that the description of villain itself is an arbitrary label. It's completely arbitrary. Therefore, the criteria for what counts as villainy is completely arbitrary. But let's go with the universal definitions, like, you know, tit for tat. Because you know, you always see those. Again, I have a weakness for top 10 lists, but you always see those labels like, you know, top 10 villains, blah blah blah. You know, and it begs the question: well, what makes one person more villainous than another? Is it body count? Because it's true, a lot of people can generally agree that mass murder is probably not a good thing, even though most quote-unquote heroes execute mass murder and genocide, really, on their way to accomplishing their objective. Apparently the ends justify the means. I'm Machiavellian like that. And is it body count? And at what point? Is it how many people you kill? Is it the quality of people you kill? Is a Kingslayer more villainous than a person who's burned down a village of commoners? Is a person who killed just one person, you know, matter when that one person may be like a god or like a savior to people, or the entire cornerstone of society, and that's all they've done? Are they necessarily more villainous? Can we judge the reactions based on what society, what impact they've had? Is that villainy? The infamy that they've accrued? Is that how we judge infamy? Do we judge them on the influence they accrued? Maybe a person who's led others in his crusade for quote-unquote evil? Lots of questions, isn't it? And they just aren't very answered. I think usually most people just kind of take it for granted. Man, check out this mobile sniping I'm doing. I'm getting better. I can now lead my shots. But let's see. Begs the question, doesn't it? By the way, writing a problem I have with the writing in some stories, I really hate it when you're in a story and this villain or something like that, the person who's supposed to be villainous, has little to no motivation, and yet somehow commands an army. You see, nobody just follows somebody just because. There's usually some reason, such as title, or recompensation, or some benefit. Soldiers will abandon you if they themselves are not motivated to follow you. So I dislike it, and it's so incredibly so bad. Like, I think it's a bad story altogether, much less a bad villain. When apparently the villain has this huge army of legions and followers, you know, independent thinkers too, not necessarily just like mindless, mind-controlled clones or zombies or something like that. And they themselves, their entire mission is entirely selfish and doesn't benefit the foot soldier. Why is that foot soldier even fighting for them? That would never happen. That would never happen. Even worse, when you sometimes come across the one foot soldier that chooses to join your party and turn against his army. It's like, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be the only one who stops and thinks, wait a minute, I'm fighting for a guy who's only interested in doing this one thing and in no way benefits me, my interests, or my family, or anything like that. That's such terrible, poor writing. I also find it incredibly weak when somebody defines a really cool villain as somebody who just looks cool. Like, apparently coolness is a villainous factor. Like, oh, look at that guy. He looks so cool, you know? And he's so badass. The way that he dresses, and the way he talks, and even the way he fights, and the way he dies. It's all so badass. I'm like, oh, is that how it is? We just villainy based on badassery? Huh. I don't necessarily buy all that. I'm pretty sure it's just weak writing, but excellent art design. I think it's what you're saying. You like this guy's art design. You like his concept, but you don't necessarily think he's a strong villain, but his image is better for it. And so you kind of confuse the two. You know, correlation does not equal causation there, guy. Chest. It's a trap, huh? Thank you for the warning. Be wary of trap. Is it a mimic? Let me smack it first. It is. Thank you for the warning. It's an iron chest mimic. This is the first one I've encountered. I'm gonna spits acid too. Spits poison. Crazy. Ooh, lightning wing spear. Again, more lightning stuff. And another dark armor component. But yeah, think about that next time you're playing an RPG. Think about the story quality in terms of what are we quantifying? Because then you have to take things into context. Alright, we're going to argue villainy, then we have to have actual metrics. If we're going to empirically, I know it sounds incredibly boring, but if we're going to empirically say who is a more villainous villain, then we need to add some criteria and compare apples to apples, not biases to biases, which is exactly what most people's preferences are. If you're going to say biases for biases, then you just need to say my favorite top 10 villains, not, and again I said this before, one of my pet peeves, don't empirically state this guy's more villainous than another if you have no way of justifying that. You know, if this is an illusion, I can't get to it because this message is right on top of it. I hate it when people do that. Well, can't see it. I don't see it. But yeah, if you're gonna say this person is more villainous because he killed more people, well then we need to compare how many people did that person kill, how many people did this person kill, and what impact did this leave on society? You know? How did this change the big picture in terms of their killings? You know? Burning a random village of nobodies isn't necessarily as villainous like, say, killing, you know, murdering like a whole bunch of kings or primarchs or important people like the Pope or something like that. That devastates a lot more people and has bigger aftershocks than killing and burning down some village of some no-name villager farmer. That's what always cracks me up with some of these backstories, like, I hate you because when I was a farm boy, you burned down my village. It's like, that little spit village that nobody, not even your own king, cared about, isn't a very big thing. That's just a vendetta story. And that's fine, but you don't necessarily get to call that person out as a villain. For all you know, the king ordered that guy because there could have been a traitor in there. There could have been a tactical reason why that village was burned, for all you know. You're just taking it personally, and a personal vendetta story is completely different than the perpetrator burning it down. You know? So a lot of those vendetta stories, you know, again try to clear up what makes people villainous. I'm not saying what they did was nice or what was good, and it's a shame that some other solution wasn't found and everybody had to burn and die, but little farm boy, you need to realize that person isn't the worst villain on the planet. You may make it your life's mission to get revenge and kill them, but again, that's your personal mission. I have no idea why other people would join you on your quest if this is a party system to help you kill some other random guy that has nothing to do with it. It's not like they burned down, or he burned down their villages and killed their parents too. I always find that among one of the weakest motivating factors. You kill my parents, therefore it defines my entire life of me not letting go, and I have to get revenge for my parents' killer. And me murdering a bunch of people is apparently the way to do that. I'm solving murder with more murder, and somehow I feel more heroic for that. I hate that terrible, terrible trope and terrible writing. Yeah, you see it all the time. It's like, geez, at least find some other motivation along the way, like save the world or something like that. Something other people can rally behind. That's the same thing with bad writing of heroes. Incredibly selfish, quote-unquote, heroic, and I'm just say protagonist, instead of hero. Incredibly selfish protagonists that somehow gain influence and the aid of others for no good reason. Oh, I forgot to pick up that item I was standing right next to. Next time, I suppose, when I make a cleanup trip. Alright, so I'm going to be very careful. I see there's an island, or a little item over on that smelting pot there. Alright, there's a guy down there, there's a knight on the next platform. I'm going to be very careful and pick up that item. The fact that it's so perilous, I don't want to end up like that guy, the skeleton down there who burned alive. And we're going to be very careful falling down in. Perfect. Now I'll take this very slow. Very steady. Ooh, that's worth it. The gold serpent ring increases item drop percentages. Another good item to have when you're farming an area. Alright, and let's see. Alright, there's a guy. Let me finish him off. He's a regular little katana knight, so he should go down in 2 shots. Ah, he still got a lunge on me. No big deal, he didn't knock me off. Alright, so let me drop off. There's a walkway down here going up and going down, so we're going to pause here and we'll pick it up next time. Talk more about villainy, philosophy, and more on Dark Souls 2. So thanks for watching. Bye.